Mom knows best. She raised 3 kids. You're just a first-timer. Those words hit me like ice water at 7 months pregnant, standing in the middle of what was supposed to be my gender reveal party. My husband David said them with a smile, his arm around his mother Patricia's shoulders, while 60 of our closest friends and family watched me try to keep my composure. I'd spent weeks imagining this moment differently. In my version, David and I would pop the balloon together, blue or pink confetti would rain down, and we'd share that first magical moment of knowing whether our baby was a boy or girl. Just us, our moment. Instead, I was standing alone near the snack table, watching my mother-in-law hold the balloon, the one she'd ordered without asking me, in colors she'd chosen, at a venue she'd booked using my credit card information that David had given her without permission. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. I met David 3 years ago at a marketing conference in Chicago. He was charming, successful, attentive, a senior architect at a prestigious firm. He sent flowers to my office, remembered little details I'd mentioned in passing, and seemed genuinely interested in my career. I was a marketing director at a tech startup, working 60-hour weeks and loving it. When he proposed after a year of dating, it felt right. Natural. Like we were building something together. The red flags started small. His mother Patricia called him every morning at 7. Every single morning. Even on our honeymoon in Maui. I laughed it off at first. So they're close, I told myself. That's sweet. It means he respects women, right? Then came the wedding planning. Patricia insisted on approving the guest list. She rewrote our vows because the originals were too modern. She chose my bouquet, my bridesmaid dresses, even tried to convince me to wear her wedding dress instead of the one I'd fallen in love with. David kept saying the same thing every time I pushed back. She just wants to help, Sophia. She's been through this before. Let's keep the peace. I kept the peace. I wore my own dress, but I gave in on almost everything else. The marriage was what mattered, not the wedding. That's what I told myself. For the first year, it was manageable. Patricia would drop by unannounced, but I'd escape to work. She'd criticize my cooking, but David loved my pasta, so I ignored her. She made comments about my career. When are you going to slow down, dear? You can't work like that forever. But I was good at my job, getting promoted to senior director, and David said he was proud of me. Then I got pregnant. I found out on a Tuesday morning in March. I was in the bathroom of my office, staring at the positive test, emotions flooding through me. Joy, terror, excitement, uncertainty. I wanted to tell David in a special way. Maybe over dinner, or on a weekend trip. Something intimate. Something ours. I called him during my lunch break, trying to keep my voice neutral. Can we do dinner tonight, just us? I have something to tell you. He said yes. I made reservations at the Italian place where we'd had our first date. I bought a little gift box. Put the pregnancy test inside with a note. We're adding an architect to the family. I was so focused on the moment I was planning that I didn't think about David's routine. Every day after work, he stopped by his mother's house. Just for an hour, he always said. She gets lonely. When I got home at 6 to change for dinner, I found David in the kitchen, smiling, with his phone in his hand. I just got off the phone with Mom, he said. She's so excited. She's already looking at cribs. My stomach dropped. You told her? Already? He looked confused. Of course. Why wouldn't I? She's going to be a grandmother. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Instead, I smiled and said the dinner reservation was in an hour. We had a nice meal. David talked about his mom's suggestions for baby names, nursery themes, parenting books she was going to send over. I pushed my osso buco around my plate and nodded. That was 4 months ago. Patricia's involvement had been escalating ever since. She'd signed us up for parenting classes without asking, ones that conflicted with my work schedule, so I couldn't attend. She'd created a baby registry at a store 45 minutes away. Again, without consulting me. She'd bought a car seat and stroller and had them delivered to her house because they were on sale and she didn't want us to miss out. Every time I tried to talk to David about it, I got the same response. She's just excited. She means well. You're being a little sensitive, it's probably the hormones. The hormones. As if my feelings weren't valid unless they were chemically altered. 2 weeks ago, I came home from a client meeting to find Patricia in our house. She had a key David had given her for emergencies. She was in what was supposed to be our nursery, measuring the walls. "What are you doing?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. She smiled brightly. "Planning the layout. I'm thinking the crib should go on this wall, and we can put a reading chair in the corner." I already ordered the most adorable woodland creature decals. I stood there, 7 months pregnant, exhausted from a long day, looking at my mother-in-law planning my baby's room without me. I didn't have the energy to fight. "Thank you," I said quietly. "But David and I were planning to do this together this weekend." She waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, sweetie, you're working such long hours. Let me handle this. You just focus on growing that baby. That's your job now." My job. As if creating a human being wasn't already the hardest thing I'd ever done while also managing a team of 12 people and launching a major campaign. I called my sister Emma that night from my car, sitting in our driveway because I couldn't bear to go back inside yet. "She's taking over everything," I said, my voice cracking. "And David doesn't see it. He thinks I'm being ungrateful." Emma, who lived in Portland and had dealt with her own mother-in-law issues, was blunt. "You need to set boundaries now, Soph. Before the baby comes. Because it's only going to get worse." But I didn't know how. Every time I tried, David shut me down. His mother had raised 3 successful children, David and his 2 sisters, both doctors. What did I know about babies? This was my first. She was the expert. Which brings me back to the gender reveal party. Patricia had announced she was throwing us one during Sunday dinner at her house 3 weeks ago. David was thrilled. I was exhausted and uncomfortable and wanted to keep it small, maybe just family. But Patricia had already made the deposit on the venue and ordered invitations. "It's all taken care of," she'd said with that smile that made it clear discussion was over. "Can I at least help plan it?" I asked. "Of course," Patricia said. "You just relax. Everything's under control." I should have known what under control meant. The party was at a country club Patricia belonged to. I'd never been there before. When David and I arrived, I was immediately overwhelmed. There were easily 60 people there, most of whom I didn't recognize. Friends of Patricia's from her book club, bridge club, charity committee. A few of my friends huddled near the bar, looking as uncomfortable as I felt. The decorations were yellow and gray. Neutral. Safe. The kind of colors you pick when you want to play it safe, make no waves, offend no one. There were no personal touches, no photos of David and me, nothing that felt like us. Just generic baby shower perfection. My friend Rachel found me near the entrance. "Are you okay?" she whispered. "This is a lot." I nodded, forcing a smile. "It's fine. Patricia just likes to go all out." Rachel gave me a look that said she didn't buy it. But she squeezed my hand and didn't push. The first hour was a blur of small talk with strangers. Patricia's friends wanted to touch my belly, give unsolicited advice, share their horror stories about labor and delivery. I smiled and nodded and tried to breathe. Then came the games. Patricia had organized them all. Guess the baby food flavor. Don't say baby. Diaper raffle. I sat in a decorated chair that felt more like a throne while people fussed around me. David was across the room, laughing with his college friends, holding a beer. He looked relaxed. Happy. I felt like an exhibit. Finally, it was time for the reveal. Patricia made a big production of it, calling everyone to gather around. She handed me and David a large black balloon filled with either blue or pink confetti. "Now remember," she said loudly, addressing the crowd, "we're keeping the name a secret until after the reveal." I froze. "What?" Patricia smiled at me indulgently. "I know you and David have been discussing names, but I thought it would be fun to announce our choice at the same time we find out the gender. Our choice. Not my choice. Not David's and my choice. Our choice." I looked at David. He was smiling, nodding. "Mom's been helping me narrow down the options," he said quietly to me. "She's got great ideas." My heart was pounding. I felt dizzy. "When did you discuss this?" "We've been texting about it," he said casually. "She sent me a list last week. I meant to show you, but you've been so busy with work." I wanted to throw the balloon. I wanted to walk out. Instead, I stood there, frozen, while Patricia counted down. 3, 2, 1. We popped the balloon. Pink confetti exploded everywhere. A girl. We were having a daughter. The room erupted in cheers. People hugged me, congratulated me. Through the crowd, I saw Patricia at a microphone. And now, she announced, the name we've chosen. I felt David's hand on my lower back. It's okay, he whispered. You're going to love it. Patricia beamed at the crowd. We're so honored to announce that baby girl Miller will be named Patricia Grace Miller. After me and David's grandmother. Isn't that perfect? The room applauded. Someone started crying. Patricia looked radiant. I felt like I was drowning. They'd named my daughter without me. Without even asking me. David had let his mother name our child. I turned to him slowly. You're okay with this? He looked confused by my tone. Of course. It's a beautiful name. Mom was so excited about it. And you know how much my grandmother meant to me. Did you think to ask me? I said quietly. Your wife? The person actually carrying this baby? His expression shifted. Uncomfortable now. We're asking you now, Sophia. If you really hate it, we can discuss alternatives. But come on, look how happy Mom is. I looked. Patricia was holding court, accepting congratulations like she'd just given birth herself. My friends were nowhere in sight. My own mother, who'd been sitting quietly in the corner all evening, looked mortified. I felt something break inside me. That's when Rachel appeared at my elbow with my purse. I think you need some air, she said firmly. I let her guide me toward the bathroom. Behind me, I heard David saying something to the crowd, laughing it off. Pregnancy emotions, probably. Hormones. Not a real objection. In the bathroom, I locked myself in a stall and finally let myself cry. Rachel talked to me through the door, telling me I didn't have to go back out there, that she'd make an excuse, that I could leave right now if I wanted. But I didn't leave. I washed my face, fixed my makeup, and went back out. I smiled through the rest of the party. I accepted gifts for a baby named after my mother-in-law. I thanked people for coming. I played the role. When it was over and we were driving home, David tried to hold my hand. That was wonderful, wasn't it? Mom really outdid herself. I pulled my hand away. You let her name our baby without asking me. He sighed. We're asking you now. Sophia. If you want to change it, we can talk about it. But you know how much this means to her. She's been dreaming of a granddaughter named after her for years. And what about what I've been dreaming of? I asked. Doesn't that matter? Of course it matters. But you have to understand Mom knows best. She raised 3 kids. This is your first time. She's just trying to help you not make mistakes. There it was. The sentence that would replay in my mind for days. Mom knows best. She raised 3 kids. You're just a first-timer. I was just a first-timer. As if my thoughts, my feelings, my role as this baby's mother were somehow less valid because I hadn't done it before. When we got home, I told David I was tired and went straight to our bedroom. He stayed up watching TV. Through the door, I could hear him on the phone with his mother, talking about how well the party went. I sat on our bed, my hands on my belly, feeling my daughter move inside me, a daughter who was supposed to be named Patricia. Who would grow up with a grandmother who would undermine me at every turn. Who would learn that her mother's voice didn't matter as much as her father's or grandmother's. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my texts with David from the past few months. I found what I was looking for. A text thread I'd accidentally seen last week when he'd left his phone on the counter. A conversation between him and his mother. David, Sophia's getting stressed about the nursery. Says she wants to do it herself. Patricia, just let her think she's in control. We'll redo whatever she picks after the baby comes. First-time mothers always get it wrong. David, haha, probably true. I'll handle it. I took a screenshot. Then I scrolled further back. Patricia, make sure Sophia takes the prenatal vitamins I sent. The ones her doctor prescribed aren't as good. David, will do. She doesn't need to know they're different. Another screenshot. Patricia, have you convinced her to take the full 12 weeks maternity leave? I can help watch the baby if she insists on going back early. Actually, it might be better if I do. Newborns need consistency. David, working on it. She's pretty attached to her job though. Patricia, she won't be once the baby comes. No working mother can resist staying home once they see that sweet face. Trust me. I felt sick. They'd been planning this. Planning to edge me out of my own daughter's life before she was even born. I forwarded all the screenshots to my personal email. Then I did something I'd never done before. I went through the house and gathered every document I could find. Our marriage certificate, my passport, our bank statements, my medical records. I created a folder in my cloud storage labeled important docs and scanned everything. I didn't know what I was planning yet, but I knew I needed to be prepared. The next morning, David left early for a site visit. I called in sick to work for the first time in 2 years. Then I called my sister. I need help, I told Emma. She listened while I explained everything. The party, the name, the text messages. When I finished, there was a long silence. Get out, she said finally. Sophia, you need to get out of that house. I can't just leave. I'm 7 months pregnant. We're married. We have a mortgage. You can, and you should. Come to Portland. Stay with me until you figure this out. But you cannot have this baby in that house with those people. Over the next 3 days, I made a plan. I contacted a family law attorney in Portland, explaining my situation. She was horrifying blunt. If you have the baby while living with your husband and his mother, establishing their involvement from day one, it becomes much harder to limit their access later. Document everything. Get yourself to a safe, stable environment. Then we'll deal with custody and divorce proceedings. I opened a separate bank account at a different bank, using my work bonus that had just been deposited. I transferred enough money to live on for several months. I contacted my HR department and asked about transferring to our Portland office we'd just opened 6 months ago. They said they'd love to have me. I packed 2 suitcases and hid them in my car trunk. I told David I was going to Rachel's house for the weekend. She'd agreed to cover for me. On Friday evening, I drove to Portland. 9 hours straight, stopping only for gas and bathroom breaks. My daughter kicked and rolled inside me the whole way, as if she knew we were escaping. Emma was waiting at her apartment with chamomile tea and a spare bedroom already set up. We're going to get through this, she said, hugging me carefully around my belly. I texted David from Emma's phone since I'd turned mine off. I need some time away. Don't contact me. I'll reach out when I'm ready. He called 87 times that night. Then Patricia started calling, then his sisters. I blocked all of them. My attorney filed a legal separation notice on Monday. I'd already found a small furnished rental near Emma's place month-to-month lease. I started my new job remotely, working from Emma's dining room table. My Portland doctor was kind and thorough and never once suggested I didn't know what was best for my own pregnancy. David showed up at Emma's apartment 2 weeks later. I don't know how he found me, but Emma called the police when he wouldn't leave. He screamed through the door that I was keeping his child from him, that his mother was devastated, that I was being selfish and irrational. The police escorted him away with a warning. My attorney filed for a restraining order. In the documentation, I included every text message, every instance of Patricia's boundary violations, every time David had dismissed my concerns. The judge granted it immediately. I had my daughter in Portland General Hospital on a rainy Tuesday in October. Emma was with me. My mother flew in from Ohio. Rachel drove up from Seattle. I named her Lily Rose, after my grandmother and Emma's middle name. No Patricia anywhere in sight. She was 8 pounds 2 ounces. She had dark hair and my nose and the strongest grip I'd ever felt. When they placed her on my chest, still wet and screaming, I looked into her eyes and promised her something. No one will ever make you feel like your voice doesn't matter. No one will ever tell you that someone else knows what's best for you better than you do. You will grow up knowing that you are heard, respected, and valued. Emma took a photo of us in that moment. I'm looking down at Lily, and she's looking up at me, and we're both crying. I posted it on social media with a simple caption, Lily Rose. Born October 18th. Healthy and perfect. My greatest achievement. Within minutes, David called. I didn't answer. His mother sent a long text about how hurt she was, how ungrateful I was, how I was depriving their family of their grandchild. I blocked her. My attorney handled all communication after that. David wanted visitation rights immediately. The court ordered supervised visits, given the restraining order. The first visit was scheduled for when Lily was 6 weeks old. David showed up with his mother. The supervisor immediately asked Patricia to leave. Only the parents were allowed. She caused a scene, crying about her rights as a grandmother. Security had to remove her. David sat across from me, holding Lily awkwardly, looking lost. She needs her grandmother, he said quietly. I need my mother to help me with this. I don't know what I'm doing. Neither did I replied. But I'm learning. You could too, if you'd actually try. He handed Lily back after 30 minutes. The supervisor noted that he'd spent most of the visit on his phone, texting his mother. The divorce was finalized when Lily was 4 months old. David got visitation every other weekend, supervised until she was 1 year old. He had to take parenting classes. Patricia was allowed no contact except during David's designated parenting time, and only if a third party was present. She violated it twice, showing up at my new house uninvited. Both times I called the police. Both times she got a warning. The third time would mean jail time, my attorney assured me. She hasn't tried a third time. David moved back in with his mother. He sees Lily on his scheduled weekends, but he often cancels. His job in Chicago is demanding, he says. It's hard to travel. I don't argue. I document every cancellation. I'm sitting here now, in my living room in Portland, watching Lily take her first steps at 9 months old. Emma is here, cheering her on. My mother is visiting for the week. Rachel drove down for the weekend. We're having a small celebration, just us, the people who actually show up, who actually respect my role as Lily's mother. My phone buzzes. A text from David. Mom wants to know if she can send Lily a birthday present. Her birthday isn't for 3 months, I text back. And no direct contact, remember? He doesn't respond. I turn my phone face down and watch my daughter. She's wearing a yellow dress Emma bought her, laughing as she wobbles from the couch to the coffee table. She has my smile and David's eyes and her own fierce personality that already shows in the way she shouts when she doesn't get what she wants. Good, I think. Shout, baby girl. Use your voice. Never let anyone tell you it doesn't matter. Mom knows best, David had said. But here's what I know now. I am the mom. And I do know best. Not because I've raised 3 kids or read all the books or had my mother directing every decision. I know best because I listen. To my daughter, to my instincts, to my own voice instead of everyone else's. That's what I'll teach Lily. Your voice matters. Your choices matter. And anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't deserve a seat at your table. I pick her up, spinning her around as she giggles. Emma snaps a photo. This is my family now. The one I chose. The one that respects boundaries and celebrates victories and shows up when it matters. And it's more than enough.